Napoli fans around the world, welcome to a special edition of Napoli Talk out in the wild. And alongside me, a very special guest. Hello. Hello. How are you? I don't know this cat, guys. I mean, it's just here with me, right? Just wants to listen to what I have to say about Big Rom and Big Scott. You know what I mean? So let's talk a little bit about that. Guys, Scott McTominay, Billy Gilmore both scored incredible goals with Scotland, all right? And there was a lot of hype around what they can bring to Napoli. Now, I am fully on the hype train, Scott particularly, right? And the thing about Scott McTominay is that he's got this sense of getting into the box a little bit like Marek Hamsik. And that has led people to make some comparisons with Marek Hamsik. But the difference between him and Marek is that Marek was much more of a playmaker, right? Let's not expect that from Scott McTominay. He's not that type of player that has that kind of quality. He's more someone that will be at the right moment, at the right time. Now, on the topic of Scott and Big Rom, some of you guys may know that they were teammates for 2 years back in Man U. And interestingly enough, even though they were teammates for 2 years, they played exactly 38 games together. Now, that is exactly the same amount as a full season, if you consider just the league. And in that time together, two things I think are worth noting. Number one is that they managed 27 wins and 4 draws, which is well over 80 points, which if you were to do that in the Serie A with Napoli, would not only guarantee you a top 4 spot, but it would propel you to be there in the title fight. Now, it's very hard to know whether above 85 points is going to be enough for the title, or whether this year we'll see a title fight that goes into the 90s, because you have teams like Inter that, you know, are as strong as last year, if not more. Teams like Juventus that have definitely made a step up, even Atalanta, right? So I think those 3 teams can all reach above 80 points. Will they reach 90? Difficult, but who knows? And can Napoli do it? Well, we'll see, right? But it's very interesting to know that that combo between them was able to get that many points. Now, the other interesting aspect about that relationship was that actually Scott never assisted Lukaku. So again, when we speak about is he the next Marek Hamsik, like sometimes I've been hearing in Italian newspapers, maybe newspapers that they've never watched a Premier League game in their life, the answer is no. Marek Hamsik had consistently over 10-15 assists per season. Scott was not able to have those kind of numbers at Man U. He wasn't able to find Lukaku when he was there, so let's not expect that kind of combo between them, right? I think what Scott needs to make sure that he does is bring in that element to his game when he's at Napoli, because I think that's something that other midfielders don't have for us. Like Lobotka is not a great assist man, Anguissa is not a great assist man. If he can do that for us, then that raises the level so much for us, and it will guarantee a starting spot for him, right? Because it's a quality that other guys just do not have in the team. However, guys, there's a lot of talk about Billy and Scott and Romelu, but one of the questions that was given to me by one of the members of the channel, by the way, if you want to become a member, then please do, and you can support the channel for as little as €0.99 per month, just as a thank you towards me. But anyways, one of the questions was, who do you think is the best signing of the transfer window? And for me, it's none of these guys. For me, the best signing is Buongiorno, because the biggest weak point, biggest pain point of last year was that we conceded nearly 50 goals. and you can't go anywhere when you're conceding more than one goal per game. What kind of foundation is that? What can you do? You can't do much. Buongiorno is the type of guy that will solidify the defense and potentially can half the amount of goals that we concede. I can see this Napoli team conceding just 25 goals this season. I can see that because Conte's history teaches us that. And I really do think that Buongiorno is that type of defender that can clean up a lot of messy situations for us in defense. But not only on that level, I think Buongiorno is the type of guy who, because of his age, because of his experience, because of his nationality, he might see a future at Napoli for 5-10 years. Maybe some of the other guys, they might want to go back to the Premier League. They might want to go back to their home countries. Maybe because of their age, they can only give 3-4 years. But I can totally see Buongiorno saying, you know what, I'll be a legend at this club. I'll be here 5-10 years. You know, I want to stay in Italy. I want to get the captain's armband after Di Lorenzo. And I think a lot of coaches, if you were to ask them who they would have as their captain, a lot of them would say a center back, because he has the entire field in his vision from the back, so he can coordinate the team. It's not like the goalkeeper that maybe has a hard time going out and speaking to the midfielders and attackers. I think a defender is able to communicate better with them, because he can potentially go up for corners and just have his message come across a little bit better. So most coaches would have him as a captain going forward whenever maybe Conte moves on in hopefully a couple of years' time, and not sooner than that. But even Conte said, for me, he is the captain of the future for this Napoli team. So for me, I think he's he is the best summer signing that we have had. Now, another thing that I want to talk to you guys about in this video is the 20 years of De Laurentiis, right? Because the anniversary passed, and some of you guys may not know that this team started off without even the infrastructure to train. There was no training ground. We didn't even have the balls to train. First training session 20 years ago of this team was with one of the footballs of one of the players that he had in his car, and it was a Lazio football, right? So can you imagine your first training session with Napoli, Serie C, and you're training with another team's football? That's crazy, the progress that we managed to do. But yeah, it's an adventure, guys, and it's honestly very exciting to be part of it. And Conte is building something right now, and I think when you look back at it over 20 years, you realize that it's really just step by step, brick after brick. You start building that house, and it's about getting momentum, no? And it's so important, momentum in football. Like now we have 2 wins in a row, and we have the opportunity for a 3rd win going against Cagliari on Sunday. It's just about, okay, you get that 3rd win, and then you have Juventus come up, and if you win against Juventus, all of a sudden, you're back in contention for the title. I mean, we would have 4 out of 5 wins. We would have beaten a direct rival, and you start building that momentum, that energy, and even if the team is maybe not exactly set up for success, they start believing in it, no? And that's ultimately what happened with Napoli, right? We never had crazy teams, but whenever we did well, whenever it was those years that we were challenging for the title or even won the title, it was just slowly building up to it. It was just win after win, and then all of a sudden these players started to feel more and more invincible and outperforming themselves, so I cannot stress enough how important the game against Cagliari is. And this is a team that last year we were close to beating, but they tied with us in the final minute of the game. So these are teams that play until the final whistle. you cannot shut off. You cannot think that in the 90th minute, if you're winning, that the game is over. No, the game is over when the ref says that the game is over. These guys are gonna put everything on the line, and there is a bit of a heated atmosphere when Napoli and Cagliari plays. Two teams from the south, fan bases don't necessarily like each other that much. The players of Cagliari and the fans of Cagliari see this as the big game of the season. They don't have a rivalry against Juventus or Roma or Milan like we might have. They have it against Napoli. This is the game of the season for them. To beat the main team of the south of Italy, for them, that's it. So it's an important game that would be another step towards building the immediate future, the 21st year of this De Laurentiis era. And it's all just building blocks, as I said before, guys. So guys, I'm excited to talk more about football come Sunday, because I missed you guys over this international break, and I hope you guys join one of the memberships, because I think it's very cool to get access to some of the perks that are there if you're interested, such as, for example, members only shorts, where I talk about very small topics, little bite-sized topics. Maybe I react to some breaking news, which in these 2 weeks unfortunately there hasn't been any, but there might be in the future. And you get access to the Napoli Talk Predictor game, which now will officially start, because it's the first game of September where we get the first full month. So once you access the membership page, you will see how to play that. And it's raining on top of me a little bit, so I will end the live here. Guys, make sure that you subscribe, smash that like button, and I am getting very wet right now. All right, see you, bye.